Busy time now, especially this week. We've had a lot of folks on with the elections coming up. Millions have already voted, but I'm sure there's some of you out there who have not voted yet, and so that's why we're still able to talk with a lot of these folks, talk about a lot of these ballot initiatives. Full hour of open phones on the show tomorrow. Today, here in the first half, we're going to hear from the proponents of I-164, this discussion over payday lending. Some of the folks who own these businesses here in Montana say, hey, look, this payday lending initiative 164 will put us out of business. Others saying that these rules are needed in order to keep predatory lending tactics away. Anyway, we're going to get into that topic right after we take a quick break here on Voices of Montana. 866-627-5483. We'll be back right after this. And good morning, folks. We're back with Voices of Montana, the only statewide radio talk show. I'm your host, Aaron Flint. We're going to move into open phones here for the second half of the program, and then tomorrow, full hour of open phones. I know we've had a busy week this week with lots of folks coming on and got a lot of feedback from folks on I-161. Definitely heard from some folks from not only just some outfitters and some folks who support the outfitting industry, but also some landowners who said, hey, look, this isn't just about outfitters. It's also about landowners as well. So I'm sure we're going to get some phone calls again on that topic tomorrow and maybe even in the second half of the show today. But first, as we explore a lot of these ballot initiatives that are on there, we're kind of getting a chance to hear from the backers of each initiative and also a chance to hear from the opponents at different times as well. Today we have the backers of I-164, basically this payday lending initiative that you'll see on your ballot. Of course, millions of folks across the country have already voted, but there's a lot of you who haven't yet. So nonetheless, these discussions are important and worthwhile. Today, joining us here on Voices of Montana, we've got two guests. Tom Jacobson, the director of Rural Dynamics, is going to be joining us, and also Sam Redfern, who's a military veteran who also is kind of shedding some light of some concerns that you'll hear certainly from the military community with regard to payday lending. Anyway, so let's start it off with Tom Jacobson. First off, Tom, thanks for joining us here on Voices of Montana. Give us your thoughts on the payday lending industry here in Montana. I mean, no doubt the folks who operate these businesses see this initiative as a direct attack on their business and have stated pretty clearly this will push them out of business.
Well, thanks for having me on, Aaron. In my job as director of Rural Dynamics, one of the things that we do in our organization is to provide financial counseling and education to people across Montana. Most folks know us by our DBA, which is a Consumer Credit Counseling Service in Montana. And, this really came to light over the since the legislation was passed in '99 to allow payday lending. We see about 10,000 people a year in our 7 offices across the state, and it became real apparent, over the years that, we saw more and more and more folks coming in for financial counseling and help that had payday loans, and they didn't have just one payday loan. They had 4, 5, 6 payday loans. And though the opponents, the industry says, oh, that doesn't happen, we've got regulations in place, we've got laws in place to prohibit that, it does happen. And, just because there are laws doesn't mean those laws or those regulations are being enforced. And so, we have seen this not only be a problem, but it's really become a problem where sometimes they're in such a trap. The borrowers, and they've got 4 or 5 or 6 of these loans out there that they can't get out. And it's not like they can make payments and say, well, I'll make $25 a month payments or $50 a month payments. If you don't have the money, this is a loan sharking at its best. If you don't have the money in 2 weeks, you're going to have to pay it, and they're going to push that check through, and you're going to get an overdraft fee on your account, and you've got to come up with the money, or you pay $50 and roll the loan again.
What do you think are some of the underlying factors that are driving people to go to some of these? Because obviously there's consumer demand out there for it. Otherwise, these businesses would not be in operation. But what are the underlying factors that are driving consumers towards these payday lending businesses?
I think the Montanans are hardworking, ethical. They're just trying to go paycheck to paycheck. And right now, what we have is, these folks are coming in and something unexpected happened. Whether it be a medical issue or whether it be, transportation, their car breaks down, and they're looking at it like, oh my goodness, this is an immediate need. And so they'll go in on that first time. And this is why we call them predatory lenders, is because, yes, on that first time they need that extra $300 to help them get to the next payday or help them to get their problem fixed. But the problem is at the next payday, they don't have the $300 to pay back. And so they are forced into, rolling these loans over. And then if they don't, something else arises, then they go and get another loan, or they get one loan to pay off the first loan, and the next thing you know, they're jumbling, multiple loans.
All right. Well, I want to bring in Sam Redfern into this discussion as well. I know he's on a shorter time schedule this morning, but certainly we have heard when it comes to this payday lending debate over the last few years, you've heard certain military commanders speak out about payday lending businesses that are near military installations, for example. And I know Sam Redfern is a military veteran, and you're helping the folks who are pushing this I-164 campaign. Sam, what are some of the concerns you've had, and why you think that the voters need to make a move and try to force the hand of this industry?
Yes. Well, good morning, Aaron, and thanks for having me. The first issue on the initiative that impacts the history, I guess, of the military issue, and Montana is just a very military supportive state. There's a lot of young men and women that are deploying constantly out of the state, and what happened is there was, as Tom spoke of, there was kind of a predatory focus on actual military service members back in earlier in the decade, in 2004, 2005. It was beginning to be a problem. When I returned back from Iraq to Fort Campbell, which was in Kentucky, I was astonished, as many of my fellow non-commissioned officers were, as to how many payday loan and car title lending shops had sprouted all over the base, right outside the gates. And for a 19-year-old private who just joined the military and is getting his first paycheck ever, coupled with credit card offers, coming to him, it was very tempting to just, if he was needing quick cash, or as Tom stated, something unexpected came up, to fall prey to these lending practices and take out these loans. And it began to be a cycle where we counsel young soldiers that were taking loans out 4 or 5 times to cover expenses. And
certainly. Well, I want to.
So in response, the Congress passed a federal law as well as the Pentagon to cap the rate to the military. And that's why this makes sense for Montana as well. So
you're saying do this for everybody here in the state of Montana. Well, I want to get both of your thoughts. And interestingly enough, a liberal columnist at the Billings Gazette, Ed Kemick, he put it this way. He boiled the debate down this way. He says, "Look, I tend to agree with George McGovern, the very liberal former senator from South Dakota and 1972 presidential candidate who wrote a Wall Street Journal column on the subject a couple of years ago. McGovern said payday loans seem, quote, reasonable when all your other options, such as bounced checks or skipped credit card payments, are obviously more expensive and play havoc with your credit rating." So he wondered why we allow state lotteries, knowing some people are betting their grocery money. Good question. He says maybe we shouldn't allow poor people to play the lottery, dump money into Keno machines, smoke cigarettes, or drink booze. And so there's all these other factors out there So now do we also go tell folks, well, you can't do this either, you can't do that as well? But going back to the main point that the McGovern and Kemick were really making here is, look, aren't the other effects of not allowing folks access to a payday loan that they freely choose to take on their own could have wreak even more havoc on their credit? And we've only got about 30 seconds, but we can come back to this after the break. Maybe, Tom, if you want to address that.
Absolutely. What we've got is what it comes down to really is the ethics of the interest rate or the fees themselves. And what we're looking at is, yes, people are in a bind. They're using these payday lenders but they're being taken advantage of. 400%, which is the average for a title loan.
Hold that thought, Tom. We got to take a quick commercial break here. We'll get back into that and more, and maybe how a 50-cent pack of gum can turn into a $40 pack of gum, but we'll get into that and more after this. 866-627-5483. We want to take your calls, and we'll be back right after this.